things here. Oh, this is my favorite one. Worldwide short circuit of survival behavior patterns, aka the Great Global Jerk-Off, which basically is all that porn that you've been watching. When you're watching porn, you're not having sex, right? When you're playing video games, you're not having sex. You're not going out and trying to gather resources, things like that. And all of these are huge risks to us. My other favorite is create a race of pissed off motherfucking robots. So,
Michael, are these
yes.
in orders of importance?
Robots are the most important.
No, they're not actually. These are just some. These are some of the main challenges that we face over the next 1,000 years. If we can survive these, and the next one's on the next slide. These are the ways that Mother Nature ex-sapiates, right? Ex-sapianates. These things will happen, but if we can survive the next 1,000 years, we can have technological solutions to these. Pole reversal. The poles reverse. They do it, I think, every. I think it's
100,000.
70,000, 100,000 years. What happens is literally north switches to south, but what happens first is the magnetism goes down to 0 and then comes back out again. And basically what that means is without the magnetism of the Earth, everybody fries in a huge UV frying pan, right? Massive volcanism, this happens all the time over long periods of time. There's a huge volcano underneath Yellowstone. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. It's way overdue for a blow. If it blows, the entire United States is, pounded under tons and tons of ash and magma. Pandemics we know about. The last huge one killed 20 million people. It's just astounding today. I don't know what they were thinking back then in the 40s, but nobody seemed to be freaking out about it. A sustained ice age. Ice ages come and go. They come and go. They come and go. They're like clockwork, and they will happen again. If we don't have our shit together for the next 1,000 years, we're not going to be able to survive the next ice age or stave off the next ice age. Sustained global warming, you guys already know about. Clathrate gun. I'll have to actually check my notes on that one. I forgot what that one was. What's that?
Don't just put 4 and 5 together.
Yeah, wouldn't global warming cancel out the next ice age?
Well, yeah, except you don't know which one's going to happen. You actually don't even know. Global warming might actually trigger the next ice age because there's a
How about
there's a conveyor
fluctuation?
belt.
Like you can
all
have
stuff.
really cold and really hot all together.
We're going to see that in a second. That one's next. The Clathrate gun, it's not too important. I just kind of missed it. I forgot what this was. Oh yeah, this is methane that gets trapped in ice crystals very deep under the sea. Global warming raises the temperature of the ocean, releases all that methane, and basically gives you a runaway greenhouse effect, which is Venus. And you don't really want to live there because it's like 400 degrees Celsius. So,
We don't want to be
another one, the hydrogen sulfide is kind of boring. So go to the next slide.
What is it?
Hydrogen sulfide, that's an imbalance between two different little critters in the ocean, and they get out of balance because of global warming, and they release a lot of hydrogen sulfide, which basically it smothers everybody. And that actually happened. See, these things have all happened, right? These are things that already happened. It's not like we're making this stuff up. This one happened.
Why are you presuming that it's kind of anthrocentric? Why are you presuming that a civilization of cockroaches or elephants or anything else would be
Here's why.
better or worse than? I mean, why are you saying that this infinite universe revolves around Homo sapiens
Okay,
on one planet?
there's two reasons for that. The first reason is I have no guarantees that anything else on this planet is going to evolve into sapient life form. I have no guarantees. And
But you don't know that they don't already have sapient life form.
Here's
no.
another way to put it.
What's
You're
that?
saying you like sapiens. That's because you're sapient.
I'm rather fond of sapiens.
But once we're all dead, there's no one left to mourn the death of sapiens.
Right.
Cockroaches don't care. So why is it a tragedy if sapiens die?
It's a tragedy because we all,
It's
some
a
of us,
tragedy to us
it's a
because
tragedy
we
because,
value sapiens.
But
Exactly.
not to
But
them.
objectively, there's nothing sad.
listen,
about
the thing is,
sapiens, but
none of us are here, none of us here are objective. We're all very subjective beings. And that viewpoint is itself an expression of sapience. The only reason that viewpoint makes itself known in the universe is because you're here to do it.
Actually, it's not even, I would argue it's not even a sapient viewpoint, it's actually a very animal viewpoint, which is simply self-survival
Well,
and self-love. You think that your species is great, so you want to save it.
yes.
But also in this argument, we're precluding the fact that there could be more evolved species than ourselves.
We're not precluding it. No, I'm not precluding it, and I didn't have time to put it in here. the whole idea about the Drake equation, how many other, but the thing is we don't know that there are, we
But
could,
there could be people,
okay, but we could also be the
there could be
only
beings
sapiens.
who look at us and think, oh my god, how archaic, you have
It's true.
bodies. You know, that's just, you know, how really, you know, unevolved.
But the thing is we don't know these things.
We don't know them,
The
but they
one
could
thing
be
we
laughing
know-
at us right
the
now
one-
as we're
I know they could
discussing
be.
all of this.
But it also could be true that we are literally, it could be true that we're literally the only sapient beings in the entire galaxy, in the entire local group, in
But
the
how
entire
much
life
hubris is that? I mean,
It's
I
not,
think-
no, I said could be, could be.
I just think it's, well,
But conservatively speaking, we have to operate on the presumption that we are, since that's the only thing we know.
No, I don't think that that's true. I don't think that us wanting to stay alive for the next billion or so years precludes other species from expressing their own wishes to stay
It
alive.
doesn't preclude it, but it would be a very liberal and loose way to live if we said, well, we can allow ourselves to die out because maybe, probably, we don't know for sure, but there might be some other sapient beings on some other planet, so it's not so important that we save ourselves.
But why would you roll those dice when
Right,
you don't
that's
know
what
for
I'm
sure?
saying.
Yeah, no, I totally,
I don't
It
I agree
doesn't
with
matter,
that.
it doesn't really matter whether there is or there aren't. We have to presume conservatively that there aren't because we don't have any proof that there are.
But
Well,
I
it's
just
a
think-
risk-reward ratio. There's no reward to assume that there are other sapient beings in the universe.
But if you look at our behavior, I would say we get a D minus, and I would say let's give another
Listen,
species
I had to
a chance.
think, I had to wonder if sapiens was worth saving and civilization was worth saving. I mean, the thing I
know, but
came,
I'm just wondering about why you think that other, even other beings on Earth don't have sapience. I mean, I feel like elephants mourn when they die. I feel like dolphins have a communication system. I don't know that I'm the only sapient being on this planet. So I'm wondering why
That's-
you think that.
that's a great point, and it's certainly one that we could debate. But if elephants, or if there's other life forms on the planet that have sapience, then I say let's bring them with us. I mean, it's not an exclusive thing, and I'm certainly not advocating the extinction of all animal life forms on the planet just so that we can remain sapient. I wouldn't make that bargain either. I would make the bargain that if we had to choose between, say, mosquitoes, certain species of mosquitoes, which is actually they're talking about now, certain species of mosquitoes, in terms of eradicating them so that we can get over some of the hurdles that we're facing, you know, I might make that Faustian bargain. Because the things at stake are possibly sapience in the universe. So let me just get through this, and you guys can, you know, we can talk about this a lot more later. Let me. So these things that will also happened before, and they are going to happen again. Asteroids, comets, you guys have heard about that a million times. There's a million Hollywood stories about it. If the big one hits, it could quite literally lead to our extinction, you know, in a matter of months, weeks. The moon gets a haircut. If an asteroid hits the moon and shoots some of it off into space, and it loses a lot of its mass, the Earth will tend to wobble, and that'll increase and decrease the amount of sunlight to the surface over, basically you'll get alternately fried and frozen. And that's not such a great thing for civilization. It won't necessarily extinguish all life on the planet, but again, if we don't get off the planet eventually, we are all going to die. Death by supernova. If a supernova explodes within 6,000 light years or so, the Earth will be bathed in gamma radiation, which will extinguish, you know, a lot of the planet. Not everybody. Cockroaches will probably survive. You know, whatever. So they might come up with quantum physics. I'm not sure. It might happen. Hidden binaries, not really interesting. Space clouds are out there. They block sunlight. Black holes can perturb the orbit of the Earth.
God's wrath.
What's that?
They're considered God's wrath.
Isn't that
That's
all
a
they
ten
are?
percent.
Everyone, 1 through 9 counts as God.
I didn't have time to put that on here, but sort of one that might qualify as that. If someone trips over the cord, I mean, it's entirely possible that all of this is just all of this that we're experiencing right now is a simulation, right? You guys have heard this in popular culture. The idea has been around for a long time. We could just be simulating, you know, somebody that wants to, or simulating the universe so that somebody can compute pi to like the billionth decimal. So next
that
slide.
Excel spreadsheet population.
So
Shit, I wasn't so great at that.
this one just points out that extinct